Welcome to Two Bitches and a Broom podcast with your host, Charli and Krys. Welcome, everybody, to our episode 2 of our podcast. And today's topic, we're going to talk about mindfulness, stagnation, and stunted development.
Yeah.
So,
You know what? I know that sounds bad because of the topic, but I'm so excited to actually talk about it. I don't think it's really discussed enough in our field. I think it's kind of like gently glided over, like, oh, that's just par for the course. No, we don't talk about that. That's not rainbows shooting out of our butts, let's ignore that part.
Yeah. I feel like, like stunted development, I don't have any in the beginning part of my journey. I don't feel like I had anybody even really go there as far as like the teachers that I had or anything I listened to. And that really threw me for a loop when I hit my first like perceived plateau and like roadblock. I really thought, man, I used to go way back when I would go see this healer energy worker. Like I would try to do it like on the full moon. And when I had this, I can't tell you how many times I would go in there and literally be like, everything's gone, nothing's working. Like it's all gone. It was fun sort of while it lasted, but I'm broken.
Working, it's over.
Nothing. I would literally go and she would laugh at me every time I would hit this like kind of plateau. And I'd be like, yeah, nothing is working. Everything's gone. I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore. She would be like, you're fine. Calm down.
Take a breath.
Take a breath.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. I'm like, no, you're wrong. It's all gone. I don't know. Should I look for another job? What's happening?
That is the best ever.
She's probably, I don't know, but maybe I'd be like that kind of client where I'd walk away and she'd be like, I like never, don't schedule me with her anymore. leave her out of it.
I choose no today. I choose no.
No.
I think one of the things that a lot of people like overlook, I mean, everybody knows meditation is a spiritual practice.
Right.
But I think people don't, maybe not all, but I think some people, newer people, don't realize the direct connection between that spiritual discipline that you're connecting that bridge to the spirit world by doing that practice. So if you're not in a disciplined practice and it's kind of sporadic, I feel like your development will stunt. It will come to the space where you're like, oh, why ain't anything happening?
Right. Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. I also feel like in the beginning, there's such a huge honeymoon phase that I just call it the honeymoon phase. And I feel like spirit is so excited that you're finally like getting on board and they're flying validations at you and everything feels, that's why I'm like, oh, it's the honeymoon. It's like everything's great. But then you have to figure out, and you don't really need to put effort and try super hard.
Yeah.
Because you're getting all of this, right? It's just clicking and clacking and everything's rocking and rolling. And then all of a sudden, it kind of just hits that mark where now you have to figure out how to be every day. And my guides are probably like, yeah, we can't float you like this all the fucking time. Like, you got to do something. It's like the Hail Mary prayer every time. Like, okay, make this all work.
Yeah. Okay, like, ready? Let's go.
Yeah, ready?
Like,
let's go.
No.
They're like, no, bitch, you need to do something too.
Not by me. I don't know what to do. Yeah.
No, like I just show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
that's very
yeah,
common. Do you know how many times I've heard that? I show up every day. I show up. Okay. And what are you doing when you
right,
show up? Like, what
right,
is that showing up? What is your version
right.
of that? Because it's more than having a physical presence, you know,
Mm-hmm.
of showing up.
Right, right.
Like, what is that spiritual practice that you have
Mm-hmm.
that is ensuring that bridge? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. I get what you're saying. And I feel too, it's like when you are, and maybe this is just my opinion on it, but oftentimes we find like we expect spirit in our teams to do the brunt of the work, and
Sure.
you don't have to, you
Yeah,
don't
that
have
was a
to
big
come in.
wake up call.
Yeah, you don't have to come in and do as much. You can still just, again, like you said, like just show up. But what else are you doing to honor your connection with your team, with spirit, with even just your mindfulness practice? Because I feel like, and maybe this is just a human response, but we try to separate, right? Like, oh my God, it used to, I don't know about you, but this used to like kill me. And it never worked for me. Was like the whole like, oh, on and off switch. Like, oh, I'm on at 9 a.m. and I'm off at 5 p.m. I'm like,
Yeah.
I must have a faulty electrical switch, because that doesn't have, like, blow the candle out and light the candle. This is signifying that you're on. But if you are a metaphysical practitioner, or you just have sensitivity abilities, a light worker,
Mm-hmm.
it's 24/7. It's not 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
And I think that's where I have an advantage comparatively to other people who may have walked a completely different path. I was very
Mm-hmm.
fortunate that my path into shamanism was when I was a teen. So it's a lot
Yeah,
different
yeah.
because we don't believe in an on off. There is no such thing as an on off.
Right, right, right.
And that was actually, I found that to be quite disturbing when that came into my awareness. People believed in the on off. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why would you want to turn it off? I mean, like, genuinely,
Right, right.
if I'm going to make a right onto a road, I want to know if traffic is cleared. I want to know if there's a backup that I can avoid. I
Yeah.
want to know if I'm going on this date, if this is a good dude. Like,
Well,
I
yeah,
want
yeah.
to.
So I
Yeah.
think that's like that missing piece of incorporation,
Hmm.
that we only think of abilities and connecting to spirit is when you're working or you're going for like a purpose. But it is everyday life. It is everything that you do. Your gifts don't turn off just because, you are making dinner at home.
Yeah.
Why would you stop that? And I mean, I think that's probably why I'm such a huge advocate for 24/7 open communication with your team.
Hmm.
And you talk about everything with them, everything. You
Hmm.
know, I'm always like, riddle me this, Batman. How's this work out? What's this
Yeah.
going on? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Like, wait a minute.
explain yourself.
Yeah. Who dropped the ball?
I know. Oh man, especially when things like that happen. I'm like, nobody is allowed to take a lunch break. What the fuck?
Who dropped the ball? And
Who went for a smoke break? Because this is not cool.
yeah, yeah, it's good times, man.
But
Good times. But
yeah.
it's very common though. It's very common that you hear that on off, on off. And there's like this perceived delineation on
Mm-hmm.
this is my spiritual hat and this is my
Mm-hmm.
human hat. I'm just a
Mm-hmm.
regular person at this time frame, and I'm a spiritual person at
Right,
this time
right.
frame. And that never made sense to me, because I can be all of those things simultaneously, and it can be very cohesive. I think it's more cohesive than like switching hats, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And again, this may be just my own personal opinion, and I may not have fans when I say this, but I feel like it's kind of disrespectful when, at least to me, if I have this connection with my guides, my team, and they're doing so much, they work their ass off for me in a professional manner, right?
Yeah.
But I'm only
like 9 to 5 only. Yeah. I can talk to
9 to 5 only. No, I don't.
Yeah.
We don't exist, know each other outside of that. I feel like it's kind of like using them, like disrespectful. You're just incorporating their knowledge and insight and guidance for this area, but they can help and give you the same for so much more in your personal life too. It's like, how would I feel? Oh, well, like, I mean, fuck, like, I'm sure we've all experienced it, being a gifted soul, having those individuals that only call you when they need guidance for something.
Sure.
When they're seeking something, right? Because like, it's the same thing. You're only calling on your team when it's going to be beneficial like that, Maybe that's just my opinion.
No,
but
that's
how I look at it too.
Yeah, that's genuinely, when I teach and it comes to working with your team, that's one of the first things I say. This is more than just a relationship of gaining information or learning how to gain that information. It is developing a relationship. This is going to be your best friend. By the way, they're going to know everything. So do you want to just like occasionally pick up the phone and go, hey, by the way, I need you to do something? No, you would never do that to another human being. I'm only going to call you when I need something. That would get tiresome really fast. And if I was your guide, I would be really fucking disappointed, because I would think I would have so much more to offer in way of guidance other than giving information at set periods of time.
Right. Yeah.
It is a friendship.
I couldn't be a guide in that, and they only call me. I would be like, yeah, no, it's a good time for a lesson.
Yeah. Then I would be like,
I know you are, but what am I?
Like, oh, now you want to talk to me. Now's a good time. Like, okay, I see how it is. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I couldn't imagine. I genuinely couldn't imagine not having the opportunity anytime. I was so excited. I'm kind of Mario Karting here, but I was so excited back in the day when they finally got like a little earphone that you could wear when you're talking on your phone.
Oh, yeah, like the first Bluetooth like headphone thing.
I didn't look crazy when I was talking in my car. People just assumed I was talking.
I mean, nowadays, yeah. Like I remember when that started coming out, where you can actually like just have it on your. Nowadays, it's this common thing, and that's right, because now, who knows who you're fucking talking to? You could be talking to anybody on the phone. Yep. Nobody's going to look at you any kind of way.
Nobody. It is the best time to be alive as a practitioner, because nobody has a clue, and nobody really cares.
Right. Yeah.
But back in the day, you saw somebody by themselves talking in the car. You're like, what the heck is wrong with them?
You're looking at the rest of the car like,
mind,
is there somebody in there? I don't understand. Is she talking to a dog? Like, what's happening?
Do you see somebody in the back seat? No, it was just and some of my best conversations are in the car. They're in the car. Some of my best conversations. It is, your left brain is busy doing a function. My right brain can grab onto that information very easily. And I'm super clairaudient. So I love that. It's just like, it's great. It's good times, good times.
So what is your best tip for someone who is developing and finds themselves like in this phase where they feel like how I was when I would walk in and be like, I'm broken, everything's off and not working?
There's a couple of things, but this, me, for those of you who do not know me, I should say, I am a diehard on shadow work. I believe in it very strongly. And I believe if you are hitting a point in your development and you are maintaining your meditation, you're living clean, you're breathing clean, you're showing up in all of those ways to bridge that connection, and you're not getting anywhere, shadow work, my friend, shadow work. Because you have to be able to recognize and address the factors that are hidden within yourself that is so critical in fostering your spiritual growth, finding that deeper connection to your spiritual self.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're going to have that, you're going to have that disconnection from your higher self because you haven't fully realized it. It hasn't came into full awareness at that point. Because if you do not like portions of yourself, you can't go any farther. You can't.
So it would really be like stepping back and saying, what is it about me internally that I'm resisting?
Absolutely.
And where is it that I am blocking myself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am the biggest advocate on shadow work. There is nothing that can replace it. And I'm not talking about, write an affirmation. I'm not talking about fake it till you make it. I'm talking about finding those pieces of yourself. When are you triggered? What is causing those triggers? Where are your negative patterns of behavior? And I'm not saying you have to change anything. I'm not saying change a coping mechanism. I'm not saying change the way that you shield yourself from being, poked at a wound.
Right.
I'm saying acknowledge them and accept them and say, I'm still fucking amazing, even though I have these triggers, even though
right.
But not just saying that, but actually believing that,
Yeah.
I
feel like
the most important part.
Awareness is such a huge game changer when it comes to your mindfulness practice. And when you hit those moments of feeling stunted in your development, or you just feel like stagnant. Sure. And when you start becoming, aware of it and just acknowledges its existence, I find like doing shadow work, that's the most powerful thing for me and those that have crossed my path when we work through shadow work is the awareness and just simply acknowledging it, because you can't wish it away. It's not going to fucking go anywhere.
You can't do shadow work without mindfulness.
You
can't, because
you have to have the two.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it involves paying attention to your thoughts, your emotions, your physical sensations. That is mindfulness, being here in the now, not escaping it. And shadow work is essentially a big part of that, being in the here and now, not escaping who you are, not, you know what I mean? Paying attention to how I feel when I'm triggered. Yeah. I mean, you can't have one without the other, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
So
I think I agree with that. I think it is the mindfulness. It is the acknowledgement of it. And I think it's so many people I notice get stuck in expecting like instant gratification, like change overnight. And I'm like, my darling, you didn't absorb all of this overnight. So you're not going to purge it overnight.
Yeah.
It is something that you are shifting in the subconscious to show in the conscious to bring out to the reality. So it's a process, you know. But when you accept it, you acknowledge it, you accept it, it is what it is. It already starts that kind of process happening in that ball rolling.
Yeah.
That I've noticed, you know.
I can remember going to my mentor at some point, and I said, I don't feel like I'm moving back, but I'm not feeling like I'm moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to move forward. I had this desire, you know, just I want to grow, I want to learn, I want to be all of the things, you know. I remember telling him that, and he said, when was the last time you danced? And I said, what?
And you're like, that has nothing to do with this. No, you didn't hear me.
Yeah. I'm like, what? When was the last time you danced? I'm like, I don't have a clue. I don't know. I'm not sure. And it had been a very long time. And he said, you have to have joy to grow, and you have to love what you're doing to have the joy to grow. You're looking at the finish line, and you're not here now having the joy. And that changed my entire perspective, you know. And I was like, holy shit, he's onto something here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's onto something here, you know.
That brings me into my point, my next point after the awareness and acknowledgement is kind of like, I find that taking time to indulge in the pause and just be here, be in the now, be present, and go do something like how he told you, when's the last time you danced, was literally just go have fun. Do something fun. Whatever that looks like for you, go do something fun. And I find that because I fell in this trap of a mindset too at one point. That's not productive. What do you mean just be? Like, no, that's not. We're trying to move. We're not trying to stay. But it does so much when you allow yourself to just be, bring back the joy, have that experience. Man, it just like kind of clears everything out. And actually, I feel like it kind of catapults you into your next phase.
Oh, yeah.
But people miss that. And nobody really talks about that. It is like the whole kind of like kumbaya, you know, mentality. And like, but you have to also just be and let yourself just be.
Yeah. And I think that is the challenge with a lot of people, to let yourself be. That is a huge challenge. I think especially in Western culture, you know, we are brought up with the perception of we must actively do in order to achieve.
Right? Yeah. So, you literally took the words out of my brain right now.
Yeah.
It like is a societal, ingrained thing.
It is. So to hear you must be, just simply be, is absurd to our sensibilities because of how we have been preconditioned for successful survival. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's challenging. It's very challenging to kind of eradicate the dogma that has been shoved down your throat of what makes you successful in any arena.
Right. Justify the time that you spent. What did you do with your day? How did you make it worth it? You know, and it's like, what the
If
fuck,
you were to
you
go
know?
out and you were to like ask, 10 women, how do you know you've had a great day? They would say a productive day. I got
Right.
this done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is not the case. That is not, you want to have a successful day, like a truly wonderful, fantastic day. Have joy in whatever the hell you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
And that's not something that's common when you go out and you do. I mean, hello, that would be me. I would be like, yeah, I had 5 things on my list and I got it all done.
yeah,
That is success, you know?
yeah.
But when you ask, were you joyful while you were doing, you
Hmm.
know, uh,
Yeah.
I'm, you're
And
hyper
I
focused
had
on
to like
completion.
change that for me because, the universe, the
Hmm.
universe gives us whatever we want. And when we exhibit joy, they're like, oh, she
Hmm.
likes that. This is the universe. She likes that. Let's give her more, And when
Right,
I
right.
found that out, I was like, I am not having joy doing this. I want more. I want more, like, so I'm
Well,
very conscious of, like, when I have clients, I exhibit lots of joy. I am so blessed. I am so thankful. Thank you so much. Give
hmm.
me more of that, you know? But at the same time, it's very challenging because we are programmed, conditioned to go, oh, I've got all of my tasks complete, So it's like, nope, I'm not happy. I am
Yeah.
productive. I am productive today. I'm not happy. I'm not joyful. I'm productive. I have to like
I'm
look.
joyfully paying these bills. I'm joyfully like, no, I'm responsible. I'm taking care of this, you know. Yeah, I get that because I had a hard time swallowing just expressing, and I still have conversations with my guides about this all the time of the universe responding to emotion, the vibration that you're putting out. So if you're joyful, because I'd be like, no, why would I joyfully like, oh, I got this stack of bills, I'm gonna be, yay, I'm paying. It seems a little bit fake to me. Not that I'm not grateful
Uh-huh.
to be able to pay this, but I struggled in that part where I'm like, I can't feel joy paying this bill. I'm
No,
grateful.
that's okay though, because if you channel that gratefulness when you're doing it, like,
Right.
okay, I have enough money to pay my bills. I am so grateful and I am so blessed that I have
Yes.
enough money to pay those bills. Our brain is not stupid. It knows when we're lying.
Right.
If I was to say
It's
I have so much joy paying $3,000 in taxes
right,
for
right.
my house, that my brain is gonna go, bitch, you are such a liar.
Well,
You know what I mean?
that's the thing. I get like even with clients of, talking about being present in the moment and emitting what you want to receive in every action that you take, but it's not always going to be the joy, the love, the excited, the life, but sometimes it is. I am so grateful that I have the ability to fully pay this. You dip into gratitude, you
Exactly.
dip into love, you emit those things. If I try to say, and I've tried it, to be like, how joyful is it that I can pay all my bills this month? My brain is like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. You know?
You are a damn lie. Shut up. But instead I'm like, I am so grateful that I have the ability to do this.
Mhm.
Then man, I could feel that coming out and I could
Yeah,
feel that gratitude emitting
sure.
versus trying to like fake the funk with
Yeah.
another thing, you know? So, it's mindfulness coming back in and then allowing yourself to just be, man, I think that's one of the toughest things. Like shadow work is tough, but going against systematic programming in tell me how you made this day worth it, like
Mhm.
justify your day.
Sure.
Oh,
Sure.
that is a
Yeah.
hard one.
Yeah, absolutely. And somewhere along the line, we bought into it, hook, line, and sinker.
Mm-hmm.
We said, this is what makes us good humans, productive, civilized humans that are, um, a part of this community
Mm-hmm.
and a productive member of society, if
Right. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
adhere to this. And unfortunately, then you come and you want to work with somebody like me, and I'm like, oh no, that's all bullshit. That's a hard pill to swallow. That's kind of hard to change that, right? It's like, yeah, no, that's all. Let's try it this way. And it takes some time. It takes some
Right.
time to get to that space and authentically and genuinely be in that space.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about faking it. It's not about any of that. It's about genuinely, organically flowing to that space. And once you get to that space, man, the roads just open up, the world opens up in
Mm-hmm.
such a profound way. But yeah, stagnation, it's a thing. It's a thing. And I believe, and I just do. I love shadow work, so I can't help it. I can't.
You know, one interesting thing, I just heard it pop into my head about stagnation. It's not always because of universal energies, cosmic energy. It's
Yeah,
not like I literally just heard my guide say that.
yeah,
Stagnation is not also just because, oh, the planets, all these planets are in Gatorade and shit, and, like,
I
oh, this
love
is
that.
happening. Like,
Yeah,
like it's not, no.
yeah,
Sometimes, like, grain of salt, yes, but sometimes, most of the time, it's your shadow. It's
yeah.
something that you need to address within self. What are you resisting? What are
And I,
you going against?
I think that some people misunderstand planetary alignments too. And
Mm-hmm.
I am by no
Right.
means an astrologist. I know enough. I'm not a
Right.
master
I
of
know
this.
enough to get by.
I know enough. I'm not a master of this by any means, but those planetary alignments, when it is in retrograde, when it's in a specific alignment, it is to bring awareness to a very specific shadow that you
Shadow.
have,
Yeah.
so that it gives you an opportunity where you can't ignore it because it's front line and center, and then you can work on it. That's the whole reason why it's happening. I mean, if you
Yeah.
pay attention, that's why it's happening. So again, it's always, and I also think people have the misunderstanding that if I do shadow work when I'm 20, I'm done for the rest of my life.
Oh gosh.
That
Yeah.
is not a thing.
Like,
You are given
uh,
the tools on how to assist yourself for every shadow that may rear up in the future. It is an ongoing process. It never ends. It is
right.
a journey into
I
yourself.
think it I think it's like whenever, yeah, you take the brunt of, let's say, a shadow that you're working through, and it's a lot of trauma is built into that shadow and all that stuff. So you did the heavy lifting, but it
Right.
doesn't mean that you're not always going to be, at some point in time through the course of your existence presented with that topic,
Right.
because there's always another layer of insight, of perspective, of all of that. And I also think too, it's like, when you say, I have conquered confidence, and God's like, perfect, show me.
Yeah.
You're like,
Here's a
uh,
challenge. How'd that work out
here's an
for you?
opportunity to show your confidence that you so greatly conquered. And, it's like, okay, did you really transmute that? And are you going to show up and say, yes, I did push through this and I am affirming this, just because you do that and you go through like the heavy lifting in the beginning doesn't mean that the topic of confidence is going to go away forever. Oh, she's confident. She got it for the rest of her days. No, because I think shadow is like a spider web, right? So we
It
have
is.
all of these things that are interact with each other.
Yeah.
Maybe you boosted your confidence in one little area,
Mhm.
but confidence still shows up in another area that
Mhm.
is tied into shadow. Does that make sense?
Oh,
That's kind of how my
absolutely.
brain starts
Yeah.
spinning the topic of shadow.
Yeah. And I can remember going, like, I had definitely self-confidence was a huge one for me,
Mm-hmm.
ginormous for me. And I think it's because I was so worried about somebody finding out what I do,
Mm,
So you can imagine how bad that affects your self-confidence.
sure,
And,
yeah.
and is this all in my head? Am I full of shit? Do I need a little coat that hugs me forever?
You're like
Like,
strapped in.
yeah. Like, do I need that?
I got a
Is
VIP
that a
suite in a
thing?
padded
So
room.
yeah, so the self-confidence was a huge, huge factor for me. And when I believed, if you notice I'm saying the word believed, when I
Mm-hmm.
believed I had conquered that, and I dare say, even boastful when I was talking to my team about it. Like, look at me, look at what I did. And it was just like, bam, bam, bam. The universe was like, really? Here, let me show you how much you shit have not done. Let me show you. How's that? Oh, look at that. Not healed. Look at
Yeah.
that, you know?
Oh, I,
And
I thought you were so confident.
yeah. Aw, you know, and it was a process though. It was a process for
Mm-hmm.
me, especially with my mentor, who I'm forever grateful, forever blessed to have had. But he was hardcore. He was exactly what I needed. I needed somebody who was not going to sugarcoat things or
Mm-hmm.
pat me on my back. The there, wasn't going to do that. uh he was never that person. He wasn't. He was, and I needed to find my way without somebody pointing and going, oh, watch out for that. I
Right.
needed to fall. I needed to scrape my knees, and I needed to know that I would get up, heal myself, and keep moving. That I didn't
Mm-hmm.
need anybody. I just needed to know that I had the will, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I needed that. I
That's
needed
big.
somebody to just hold space, and have
Mm-hmm.
the confidence in me that I could do it without knowing what the hell I was doing.
I feel like
You
if he were to be like, watch out for that pothole over there along the way, you would be like, where? What pothole? And you
Oh
would
my
dive right
God.
into it anyways, and then be like, why did you let me do that?
I There was a point where I really struggled, really internally struggled, and I really sought his advice. And he would sit there very quietly, man, a few words, but what he did say, you really listen to, they were very profound. It was like Yoda, and I'm not like a
Mm-hmm.
Yoda person. If you're looking for Yoda, I'm not your girl. um
Right.
but he was really, and I always was like, am I supposed to read between the lines? What it was like a parable. He spoke in parables, for friggin' sake. And I was like, I my brain is not working like this. So I'm not sure what I do. I would write it down, think about it, read it between the lines.
Trying to solve this riddle and puzzle.
There is more to this. There is more, and no, he was genuinely saying that if you cut off the end of a rug and you sew it on the end of the rug, it's still the same length. And I'm like, this has more meaning. It has, I know it does. I remember, like, I'm not kidding you, for like 2 days, I kept like, what? There's more to this. I know that there's
Like,
no, it was
yeah.
That's it. That was the whole fucking thing.
Like simple. Where you're like, if I take this rug and I'm gonna cut this part, and then I put it on this part, and then like, how does that 2 + 2 is 10? Huh?
Divided by MC squared.
Divided by
With the square root of 8, No.
And he's like, simple.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
I think simplicity is something that is highly just bypassed or not talked about or taught or anything of the sort.
Yeah.
It's all why do we have to always be so complicated with everything? Why
Yeah.
can't we just be simple and take a day? I had someone I told once of, you read so many books, development. Obviously you love to read, so that's fantastic. What do you read for fun? And it was like, what? No, I don't do that.
What is that? I have no idea.
What does that mean? They make books for fun? Like, yeah, like read. And I gave that as an assignment.
Mm-hmm.
Read a book for pure fun. Mm-hmm. Has nothing to do with alignment, spirituality, all of the various theories of self-development. Just read a book for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See
what that does for you.
Yeah.
And it's such simple things that we overcomplicate. It's called all the time.
Balance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge part of stagnation as well. I really think it is. And mindfulness as well. Because if you think about it, if we're constantly seeking other than where we're at, are we having the human experience? Or are we escaping it?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we came here to have the human experience. We're spiritual beings. We want to have that bridge to the spirit world, but we're still having a human experience.
Right.
So there has to be a balance. There is. You don't want to be top heavy. You know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
You're constantly connected and you're not grounded.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've had so many clients that are like that, just so much into, as you said, like top heavy, but so much in the clouds in the sky. And you forget you have to have both. It's the yin and the yang. It's the spiritual connection, but the human experience at the same time.
Absolutely.
You have to let yourself do that. And I find like with, going back to like the light switch and the whole 9 to 5 thing, having that balance, one thing that helped me was I kind of let my team know I'm going on family vacation. Look, we're having a family vacation. I'm going to just be, doesn't mean they didn't go anywhere. Doesn't mean that they still weren't communicating and talking, but it was almost like, okay, gang, we're going on a vacation. So we're going to just chill and we're going to just be, and we're going to just be in the moment with, family and just have fun and fucking laugh. Laugh, not think about anything, and just enjoy the company. And man, when you do that, not only do you feel just refreshed from taking the break, but I always come back feeling more inspired than ever before.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that same kind of experience, but it's like you feel just so rejuvenated, not just in like, taking the break from life and doing the vacation fun stuff, but even in your connection to your team and to source, the universe, God, whatever resonates with you. You just feel so much more in tune and in sync and motivated. Yeah.
And again, it's not like, nobody's hitting a light switch and saying, I'm off.
Right.
It's saying I'm on all the time, having the human experience and enjoying my spiritual connection. You can do both. You can.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so much more fulfilling because I think if you're switching the hats, you know what I mean? It's personas,
Yeah,
you're adopting a persona for that period of time and not the true essence of the whole being, incorporating all the aspects of self.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a great point. That's a really great point of incorporating the essence of self in its totality,
Yeah.
of you, of your connection to spirit, connection to your team. It's I feel like a Yoda moment here, but it's all is one.
You start good luck. I'll just stand back and watch in awe and amazement.
I feel Yoda coming on. All is truly one, and
Yeah,
it's multifaceted, but still all one connection.
sure.
So, mhm,
I
yeah,
I think that it's not talked about enough. I think that there's a lot of, I know I've had clients who have come to me who are literally in tears. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I cannot
mhm,
move forward. Can you help me?
yeah,
And it's like they think they're all alone. They're the only person that has
right,
experienced that. And I hate to say it, but I feel like it's a rite of passage. I really
yeah,
do. It's a rite of passage in this field. If you have not experienced that yet, don't pat yourself on the back just yet. It's
right.
coming. It's coming.
It's gonna come.
Because
It is.
if it hasn't happened yet, then you haven't hit that point of where you're going to move further. And you will.
Mm,
It is, as you stated earlier,
mhm,
it is like once you breach that, that shadow and you confronted that and you're like, okay, okay. It's like you are catapulted forward. You know what I mean?
mhm,
It's this
mhm.
big step forward. And then you're like, holy crap, look at what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So,
Yeah, it is. It is. I find that too. Like even with just having clients of doing that, feeling like something's wrong with them and they're not, and it goes right to resistance is persistence.
mhm,
So what you're resisting is going to keep persisting, and if you're resisting that mindfulness and that acknowledgement and the shadow, because you want to stay all bubbly and light and you know good
mhm.
vibes only,
Mm,
that's not all encompassing of the experience.
yeah. I am a big proponent of vibration. I am a big proponent of having gratitude, being cognizant of your vibration, definitely having joy, having bliss in whatever you're
Mm-hmm.
doing. But I think that it has been marketed, you know,
Mm-hmm.
completely wrong in our field. Like you must show up, with rainbows and cotton candy shooting out your back. And I don't agree with that. I have seen some profoundly gifted practitioners who absolutely do not encompass that. And that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that they're not profoundly gifted light workers. They are
Right,
light
right.
workers who also just so happen to not be expressively, outwardly
Mm-hmm.
expressively, joyously expressive in that manner. I think I said expressive like 150
Yeah.
times, but you know what I'm
Well, I
saying,
mean,
right?
like I feel that too, because I mean, you and I have had conversations too and about like color, right? And
Oh,
incorporation.
yeah,
And
color
am
therapy.
I the color therapy? And I think that's fantastic and that's great. But am I the type of person that will be bubbly in my wardrobe?
Mhm.
No, you'll probably catch me like this all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I incorporate it in my own way. Like my daughter hates this, but I always have mismatched socks and I usually get like the printed socks. I show my color in the inside,
Yeah.
versus like someone else who has no problem with wearing
Yeah,
all
like as
kinds of
long as
colors.
I've known you, it's like blue, black, and sometimes you'll have a little white somewhere on there, but
Right. Yeah.
that's your jam. That's who you are. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And I am a light worker. I am,
Yeah.
for the greatest good of all kind of thing. But I'm not going to be, you look at me and you probably won't perceive that. I mean, I have RBF, really strong. My
Yeah.
anti-aging is RBF. So
Yeah.
I have that going on, and I'm not that type of person to go in and into a room and be like, "Hi, I'm Krys. Like, how are you?" This and that. I walk in and I'm just like, I can't.
And
I suck at small talk,
and
but
that's
that's
being
just me.
comfortable in who you are. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I love color. I'm very expressive. I'm very demonstrative with my color choice, my wardrobe, even my jewelry. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
all of my jewelry is stones. I don't own anything that's not a stone in jewelry. And I enjoy that. It's very expressive, and I know the vibration that I want to capture and I want
Hmm.
to emit and I want to absorb and utilize for my own frequency. So that's something I'm very cognizant about, and that's my jam. And we can
Hmm.
both do that completely oppositely and both be profoundly correct and what our
Hmm.
paths are. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's this false narrative of that identity that you have to present. And that is like, that's total bullshit,
Mm-hmm.
because we're not cookie cutter beings. We're not,
I
it's
think
not,
it would be so
it's not going
fucking
to
boring.
happen.
It would be so boring. Think of how boring
Hmm.
it would be that every person that you were around looked like you, talked like you, agreed with everything. Oh my God, how could
Right.
we grow? How could
Yeah.
we in any way? That would be
I
so
could,
boring.
I couldn't imagine. I can't stand myself half the time. So why would I want five more of me? I get on my own damn nerves. Why would I want 10 more? Just the same. It's that, and that is not serving the experience of being here in the first place.
Right.
If I've told someone once in a conversation, if we were truly seeking to learn like compassion, would we go to a place where it's full of compassion? Every single person, being, thing is just all compassion. Are you truly going to learn and understand and imbibe and evolve into the true meaning and energy of compassion? If that's all you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
probably not,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
probably not. So
Yeah.
that's the
That's
beauty of
why
this world.
if you're, if your soul lesson is to learn unconditional love,
Hmm.
right? If that's your soul life, you're not born into unconditional love.
Right.
Quite the opposite.
Right. Yeah.
You're constantly being confronted with, I am not loved without conditions.
Hmm.
Same thing. Yeah.
Right.
Same
Yeah.
thing.
So would you truly learn the true grit of that soul lesson if you were surrounded by it 24/7?
Yeah. Nah.
No, because you don't have anything else to compare it to. You
Sure.
haven't had to pull yourself out of, like, the mud of the opposite of experience. How
Yeah.
much, how profound are you really going to be walking away from something like that? Not really,
Valid
so
point.
why would we want, you know, 100 of me cookie cutter around? What am I going to learn? Nothing.
Yeah. I just think it would be so boring. It'd be like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, we all agree. Okay, let's not talk any further.
Yeah.
Anything I think is going to be the
is
same thing you
it's
think.
going to be the
Yeah.
same. There's no need to speak. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that's, gosh, man, that is something I really look forward to the community changing. Is we're not cookie cutter. We're not all,
No.
we're not all going to walk in with the rainbows and the butterflies and the kumbaya.
Yeah.
It does not make anyone any less of a genuine, you know, healer, reader, whatever, you know,
Right.
whatever your avenue is, just because you don't fit that bill on the outside.
And I, that's a lot of diversity, I think, is extremely, extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
I really highly recommend that you diversify when you're spiritually growing too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Coming from different
Yeah.
cultures, different backgrounds, different belief structures. I think
Yep.
that makes a very well-rounded practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
Intentionally take that course, that class, uh,
Right.
that is going against the grain of what you believe, so you can expand your awareness and go, okay, this
Mm-hmm.
reaffirms my current belief of against that, or maybe it'll
Mm-hmm.
open you up to see things from a different perspective. You may
Yeah, that's
surprise
true.
yourself, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very true. Well, this was a fun conversation.
It was.
I enjoyed talking about it. It is, yeah, very, very misled and misunderstood in the community. And yeah. Before we sign off, I wanted to just give you a good shout out and kudos because you have a book that
Oh,
just published. Yes.
nice. Thank
Let's
you.
see it. Let's
Thank
see your
you.
book.
My book. Yeah. 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 So,
And
I worked really hard trying to make it as inexpensive as I possibly could. I wanted it to be $10. The lowest I could get it was 15. So, um, but I wanted it to be affordable because I think there's so many people like me and you when we started
mhm,
out,
mhm.
and you're like, okay, I don't have a couple of grand to go and take all these courses.
Right. No,
Starting
right.
out, I want to know where can I help myself now at this moment? And, I wanted to have
Yeah.
opportunities. I have another book that's for like newly awakened, totally free. Go on to Amazon, pick it up. It's free, and
Mhm.
that's what I want, is the opportunity for people to go, what do I do next? Where do I go next?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, thank you for
Well, I was
shamelessly plugging me.
I was planning on the whole time, like we're gonna talk about your book. But I think it's so fitting that we ended up in this topic tonight and you have that book. It was not planned, but I
Oh
think
no,
it
no.
worked out so beautifully. And I have my copy of the book. And one thing I like about it, it's really easy to follow and the steps.
Hmm.
And I like it too because, again, like especially when you're talking about shadow, your
Hmm.
own personal stuff, half the time we can't even fucking admit that to ourselves in the mirror.
Yeah,
So who am I going to go to a class or a workshop or anything
yeah,
like that and openly talk about it to strangers?
yeah,
So something like the workbook, and that's why I wanted to talk about it too, was
yeah.
the book that you just published. It is self-guided and it gives you that opportunity to explore those parts of your shadow that you're already in that space of like admitting, acknowledging, and
Yeah.
working through. That's
I
not easy.
It's not. And I've done a course through shadow work, and I have found the moment that to piggyback on what you said, the moment
Mm-hmm.
that I said, hey, you know what? You can do this video, watch these videos on your own, do a follow-up with me when you're done, and we can
Mm-hmm.
just discuss what things to work on. It blew up. It was crazy. And it never occurred to me because I'm just like, yeah, tell me everything, you know. Um it's been like 30 years for me.
Yeah.
So I'm well beyond the point of, please don't look at my shadow. I'm like,
Right.
whatever.
I mean, like, safe space, like, say what you
Yeah.
need to say, and
Yeah.
it's going to come out anyways. But for people,
Exactly.
that's
Yeah,
challenging.
that can be really challenging, and it was never so apparent until that happened. But the reality is, there's not everybody has the income. Not everybody can do that.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter how much it is, especially right now in this time frame.
Oh,
It's
for
like, oh, what
sure.
can we
For
do?
sure.
What can we do?
Yeah.
How can we help? And I think there's a lot of misinformation. Oh, do this, take this, do this, read this, you're going to be healed, here's your stamp of approval. And it's like,
Right.
why are you lying to these people? God.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but congratulations.
You,
I
love.
think it's and I'm not saying this just because I know you and we're friends, but it is really a great tool. I wish I would have came across something like that
I didn't
when
know
I
you had
was,
it already. I'm being
yeah.
honest. I don't know if you should edit this part
Yeah, I
out
have
or
it
what,
already.
but I didn't
I was like,
know. I didn't know.
launch, got it. And
Yeah.
I was working through it, and there's some things in there that I was like, dang, I didn't even think about that. And so
That's
I'm
cool.
flipping through it, and
Glad.
I'm like, oh, fuck, like, I didn't even think about that. Oh, that's a good perspective,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I can only imagine somebody who is just starting to really dive into shadow, especially now how everything is being drummed up for everybody. Like, the
I
curtain's
know.
gone, the
I know.
rug is gone, everything
Yeah.
is gone. It is true authenticity time.
Oh, yeah.
And that, holy fuck, man, to have something that you can work through alone in the comfort of your own home and privacy of your space, and
Mhm.
really just let yourself be with yourself, I think that's a fantastic thing. So cool.
Thank
um
you.
well, this was a
It does mean a lot. I appreciate it, Krys. Really, I do.
yeah, of course. And I don't know how to blow smoke up anybody's ass, so
I know. So that makes it
if it
even
sucked
more
if
difficult.
it sucked, I would be like, yeah, no, I didn't find it helpful at all. But no, I think it's a fantastic tool. And it's great that you are so concerned and intentional with making it reachable to people in price point and everything. I think
Yeah.
that just speaks volumes of, not that other people who have stuff out and are charging whatever they charge are not great,
Oh, yeah.
but
I'm not saying
we're
that
in
at all.
a
Yeah,
deep need in the collective. The collective
there is.
need is so strong right now
Yeah.
that
I mean,
accessibility,
there's like
oh man.
mass awakening of people, just massive. And I know, standing there going,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm awake. Now what? Right?
Right,
Literally, I'm
right.
awake. Now what? Now what? What's the next thing? And to me, it's like, if you have this and you have this and you have a little bit of A, B, and C,
Right.
this is the beginning. Now go forth, conquer. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? At least you have a little bit of guidance for very little money. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was
Yeah.
that's my own. I'm not knocking anybody else, please. I'm not saying that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was
No, for
just
sure.
what I was led to do.
Mm-hmm.
That was just me personally. And yeah, so
Nice.
I'm grateful. Thanks for plugging though.
Yes,
Sweet.
absolutely. So if you found this helpful or anything that you liked from it, please like, share, leave us comments, send to a friend. If you are reading, if you're watching this, listening to this, and there's things in here that you relate to, or people that relate to, share this out. We love to hear comments. Also, topics of what people want to hear spoken about
Yeah.
more,
Yeah. That would
like,
be
let
really
us
awesome.
know. So, other than that, I think we'll wrap this thing up. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining, listening, reading, and all the support and all the good stuff. We fucking appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Until next week. Thanks so much.
Yes. Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.